I'm going to talk about another important issue to me, which is same-sex marriage. Now, I'm a very, very strong supporter of same-sex marriage because I don't believe that anyone should be discriminated on the basis of their sexual orientation, especially when they want to make a lifelong commitment to each other. That just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I it's wrong, and to use the Bible to justify it is what a lot of the religious right tries to do. And I don't get it. And they cherry pick because there are plenty of things the Bible bans that we just don't care about. You don't see anyone going on a crusade against shrimp because of Leviticus 11:19 through 12. I've never seen that, but when people protest against homosexuality, their favorite verse to say is Leviticus 18:22. And then there's also another Leviticus verse which says that you should pretty much kill gay people. That's interesting because isn't one of the commandments thou shalt not kill? And then there's also stuff like shaving, polyester, and working on Sabbath, which the Bible bans, but we don't care about. We just don't give a crap about. I don't know anyone who refuses to text me because it's Sunday and they're too busy praying, or no one checks the label on a shirt to see, oh, is this a cotton polyester blend? No, it doesn't happen. It's just not applicable. So why use another Leviticus verse to put people down? I think it's not a matter of caring about what the Bible says, but just using it to pursue your own bigotry, your own wantings for discrimination against a group of people. And with that being said, there are many things that the Bible says that are just quite wrong that we also ignore. The Bible says, according to 1 Timothy 2:12, women should not have authority over man or teach him. That's ridiculous. No one... I don't get that. I mean, yeah, that's the basis why in many churches women cannot be ordained as ministers or priests. But to most people, that just seems absurd. So why isn't the ban on homosexuality in the Bible? I mean, really, can you expect there to be the same biological understanding of homosexuality in biblical times as there is now? No, and it's not a choice. A lot of people say, well, there's no biological basis. It's all a choice. It's all social, it's all societal based. And that's a bunch of crap. And I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of scientific jargon because it's not necessary. I don't need to use science to debunk that claim. It's not necessary. Because one simple piece of evidence says that it's not. In many families, you'll get disowned for being gay, or you'll face so much discrimination in so many parts of the world, and in some parts you'll even be killed. So why would you want to choose that? Why would you want to choose that rough life that you would have to face? It's not, at that point, it's not even about your biology. It's just about who you are. It's like, in other words, there are plenty of reasons to point to the fact that it's not a choice. And then other opponents will use what they call secular reasons to oppose same-sex marriage, all of which are equally as fallacious as the biblically based ones. You know, a lot of opponents will say, oh, well, children can't be raised by same-sex parents. They need a mom and a dad. One female, one male. That's the only way they'll be raised healthily. Really? I mean, I would think that would be better for a child to be raised by two dads than to be raised by a single mom on the streets with a deadbeat or even non-active or existent father. Or what about children with no parents at all? Are you saying they would do better off being orphans than they would with with same-sex parents? That's ridiculous. And there's no evidence to suggest that same-sex parents are unfit parents. In fact, there was a study that children raised by lesbian parents had higher grade point averages. Am I saying that if you have lesbian parents, you'll be smarter? Not necessarily, but that just proves that there's no difference between heterosexual parents and homosexual parents. And people also say, well, the parents will have a bad influence on them. They'll make them gay. Really? I mean, by that logic, there would be no gay people, because if gay children are only raised by gay parents, then that must mean that straight parents only raise straight children. And the final argument that's supposedly secular that I want to look at is that only opposite sex people can make children. Well, obviously. So, therefore, they should only be allowed to marry because the purpose of marriage is procreation. Huh. Last time I checked, if you were infertile, you could still get married. If you were asexual but you wanted to marry someone, you still could. If you just didn't want to have kids, you can still marry. If you use birth control when you're married, you're not going to get annulled. I mean, really, look at it this way. The world has enough children. Why do we need more? I think that it would be great if we allowed same-sex marriage and allowed same-sex adoption rights so that we could hopefully get some children out of orphanages and hopefully get some children into the hands of good, loving parents. And with that being said, there's really no difference between heterosexual couples and homosexual couples. Both are perfectly capable of raising great children. Some are capable of raising horrible children. Some will be long-lasting relationships. Others will be not so long-lasting. Oh, and that reminds me. A lot of people will say, well, it's about the sanctity of marriage. What sanctity of marriage in a country that has like a 50% divorce rate? What sanctity is there in that? I mean, there are so many cases where heterosexual couples just trample on the so-called sanctity of marriage. I mean, look at all the celebrities who have marriages that last for days, for literally days, or hours even. Or what about all the people who remarry? I mean, look at a person like Rush Limbaugh, who's like, oh, well, it will totally wage a war on traditional marriage to support same-sex marriage, because I think he was talking about Obama's support of it. So, I wonder what his first, second, and third wives have to say about that. And the last argument I'm going to look at today in opposition to same-sex marriage is one man, one woman, and that was defined by the Bible, defined by God, and we cannot change that. And by doing so, we're waving our fist at him. Really, the Bible clearly defines marriage as one man, one woman. King Solomon had 700 wives and some 300 concubines. The Bible also says on marriage that you can marry your slave's wife, or if you're a soldier, you can marry a female prisoner of war. It also says that if you rape a virgin, then you have to marry her and pay her father 50 shekels. So there you go. If you're totally desperate, just go find some hot virgin, rape her, and then, oh, voila, according to the rules of traditional marriage as set forth by the Bible, you can marry her. There you go. Have a wife. But for some reason, loving, committed homosexual relationships are not allowed in the context of marriage in most states in this country and in most countries in the world. To me, that is absurd and nonsensical. I am a great supporter of same-sex marriage, and I would just like to say that I believe everyone should enjoy the same rights, and that a lot of these arguments are absurd, and that we shouldn't use the Bible to put down people or to take down their rights. It's wrong, and we need to get to a point as a society where we can say we support equality and we support everyone's right to marry the person they love. That's all I have for today. If you like this, press like and add it to your favorites, and feel free to leave a comment below. Check out my blog, which is in the below bar, as well as my Facebook page. Well, I'll hopefully be posting some more videos, so come on back. Alright, bye.